Now we can understand with this here that as we developed commonly being known as a cube in this manner, right? As everybody was asked to sketch, most of us start drawing the cube in this manner as is being done on the board right now, right? The second perspective, or I say the second notion of drawing the cube, which turned out in our way of sketch, was that we started making it tilted in both the directions. You can see that now on the board. But what we have understand here is that we can either take that up in a bird's eye view, that is what we have worked up here, maybe at the second position where we concluded commonly saying that something which is being closer to the horizon is being distorted the maximum. This you can see is at maximum distance is being distorted less. Consecutively, that part or that surface which is at maximum distance from the VP is again distorted less. That is what we also understand most commonly, that if we are going to have a sketch of, you can see here, a railway track, what happens commonly? Say suppose this is going to be the railway track, right? Now in such kind of sketch you can understand whatever is the position which is going to be of the viewer, that object or sleeper which is just closest to the VP is distorted the maximum, right? And that is the context we have concluded here. That part which is at maximum distance to the VP or closer to the observer, what do I say? That part which is closer to the observer, it is being least distorted, or it's in its actual shape. Whereas the one which is closer to the vanishing point, I repeat, the one which is closer to the vanishing point, that shape sees maximum distortion. Again, that part which is going to be closest to the horizon, because my VP is going to lie on the horizon, that sees maximum distortion. I have the same here. That surface which is going to be closest to the horizon is maximum distorted. On the contrary, which has moved the distance from the horizon, that is being distorted less, right? So now we were just putting up with understanding the same if we could draw a cube in the worm's eye view, or I say that if something is being crawling on the kitchen platform and you were asked to make a sketch of a jar on the kitchen platform, right? Now yes, I have also turned up with the shelf, which may be a glass shelf for now so that I can view the detail better. Now this shelf may even be possibly a normal wooden shelf, and if it is going to be the case that it is a normal wooden shelf, what will happen is I will not view these lines of the jar, right, or the box which is being kept over the shelf. Now this means something which is being viewed from the top is being the bird's eye view, or something which is being viewed from the base, that is actually going to be the worm's eye view, right? Now when we are understanding that which is the worm's eye view and which is the bird's eye view, it's basically related with that what you are going to be from the top or what you're going to be from the base, right? Now while doing that, let us have the third perspective, which is actually going to be the human's eye view, wherein you're just going to stand in front of the object and you are going to be, I don't say actually over the horizon line, but you are going to stand up here, right? So this means you are going to take up the vanishing point here, and now when I'm going to start up, just see the development. I'm going to take this as my edge of the cube, and I'm going to take this as my edge of the cube. I will develop the same cube right now. I will develop the perspective, though just for you to be explained about that this could be the possibility of the fourth edge, right? But eventually when I'm going to stand here and see the object, I'm actually not going to see the top or the bottom of the object, and that makes us develop the entire thing maybe into a building, or that maybe look like a residence over which the terrace comes up, under which the base comes up, and practically you don't see it. Now, say, suppose if I have to develop anything out of this, the common notion should be this: the depths are going to be the opposite way, and when I'm going to enlarge it or magnify it in thickness, look at this. So that means if I have to say that somebody is standing just in front of it, that is the human eye perspective, and I'm going to develop it in my normal scale, right? Is everybody clear with that? Now, this means whatever you are going to develop ahead of it, say it may be a simple boundary wall. Now, again, this is going to be the vision. That means, of course, whatever is being coming behind the boundary, just that is not going to be seen. I'm going to always delete up with that extra edge. Now, yes, I know that if I have to make the thickness, it is going to be this way. I may have another end of the boundary wall, and that you all can see that I have also drawn up with the opposite end, right? Yes, I should be matching that tip here. Now you will be able to look up with, see this, when I'm going to erase out the extra lines, how did the entire surface develop? Could you see that? Right? Now there may be changes still possibly to this. I can advance on the views. There may be natural belts which may be available behind it. There may be skylines, there may be road features, there may be many things. Now, our perspective right now is to understand that there are three different ways of analyzing the same cube content, and thereafter, whatever is going to be your question, you can develop that in that manner. Maybe that is going to be, as you can see, the jar out here, maybe on the shelf, or you can eventually even break this content up. Look at this. I can simply put that like a stool for me from the top, and which is being viewed by, say, a housefly sitting on a tree top or maybe a switchboard. Now just look at that. I'm going to again complete that up, and that is going to be just like a stool. When I'll vanish up with the entire content, and the only thing which is going to be left is this, right? Now when I'm going to darken this up, you're going to see that after erasing that which is going to be the unwanted, which commonly is being referred to all the candidates in, say, H or 3H, so that you don't put up with those extra dark lines. I'll just take a while to delete that entire content which is actually not being wanted, and you all are being advised to make that up with a lighter grade of pencil. After that, you can start up with putting up the darkening of the entire thing, right? Now look at this. This changes into a stool, but then the entire perspective has been done in the bird's eye view, right? So everybody's clear with that? We can just now have a look over if the way you have been working on the sheets and you have to proceed with the evaluations. You can just have a look over object sketching, the compliments and the comments being given, what are the advances, but of course everything has to be worked up with the maximum creativity. Coloring may be one thing, choosing the color may be other, but every time when you're doing it, it has to be with the maximum neatness. If it's a 3D composition, you should be able to see that you have to work up with maximum object analysis. And it's not only going to be object or 3D composition. Of course, the content being given is being very important in terms of how do you work up with textures into the same composition, right? Let us take up something here which is into the memory sketch. What is the maximum content you should be putting in is the real view. Now that is what we learned up today. Vanishing the real content. That is what you can see in the railway coach also, right? Same way you should be putting up your sketches, and which are being when evaluated, commented upon, then you can improve on the category of same, right? If you're working into the interiors, even then improvise from working in this perspective, wherein you start putting in the back wall. Instead, start improving upon, look at this, the corners being blown up, and it's somewhat a different way of developing the one point perspective. Try out as much as you can blow out of the same given space, right? Similarly, if you're free with the colors and there's no limitation to how much can you color, in that context, picking up the vibrant colors is going to speak up the maximum. Of course, the theme has to be understood as this is interior of a discotheque. Object enlargement. Did you understand the note? The way we started developing the object in the worms or the bird's eye view. Now the object has been changed or worked up from a sharpener. Do you see the detail? Yes, of course. We are being into the maximum if the shadow or shade content is being added up. Again, coming up into the interiors, as I said, please enlarge your vision from that single frame. You can be working out more depths into the same frame or object, right? If you're into the 2D compositioning, multiple shades and 3D, you can see here the napkin is being over the apple and the apple is being over the background objects. So that means even if you are being working into 2D, can you work up with placement at levels? You can see the lower parts are darker, the middle stream and the front stream, right? Simple sketching, but nevertheless the direction of light, the shade side and the shadow content. Again I say the light side, the shade side and the shadow content. This is being very important to us. As far as you are able to include that, I say that you are best at your sketching, right? So let us conclude it here and let us hope that we start to sketch better over the due course of time. Happy preparation to everybody. Take care.